Hello, welcome to my channel. Today is an experiment using more of the modelling paste. I've got lots of that left. And what I did was paint a picture with the paste of flowers. As you can see here, no colour whatsoever, just simply modelling paste on the canvas. You get quite a bit of paste in the tub. I don't know what I'm going to do with it all because this is the last thing I can think of. Anyway, I've watched some videos on using palette knives and I've discovered you have the flat bottom, the long edge and the tip of the palette knife, which is what you use, and you use a sort of spreading toast kind of motion or an sort of drawing the edge along for things like stems. So that's the little bit that I've picked up so far. And that's what I did to draw two roses, two buds, and two hydrangea flowers. I thought that would be a really good test of what I wanted to do. And what I wanted to do was put the paste on the canvas first and then put the colour on afterwards to see if I could make any sense of the marks of the paste. I think that's what I wanted to do. It's all a bit odd to me, and to be honest, it threw me a little bit. So this is what I ended up with. Can you make out the roses and the hydrangeas? And then I put my usual palette out, and I used raw sienna, raw umber and some alizarin crimson to draw a table base. And these are flowers in a vase, in a glass vase. So I used the alizarin crimson to place the centers of the roses. And that's where we're at the moment. I dabbed on a pale blue base for the hydrangeas because I knew that the marks of the paste would give them some shape. They're not actually petal shaped, but it is sort of some shape, and it sort of blended into my blue background, so there are lost edges there, and I didn't want them to stand out too much. The roses were the star of the show, to be honest. And I hope to do those better. This is a very, very rough sketch, so I don't think I will put this picture up for sale. It might end up being thrown into the garbage. I don't know. I usually keep my pictures in a box somewhere, but I don't have as much space as I used to have. I've had to downsize somewhat, and so I'm a bit picky about what I keep now. But anyway, I'll keep it for a while because, hey, it was an interesting experiment. Now, I used brushes and put the petals on using my usual technique of pulling the petal in from the outer edge toward the center. And for the lower one, I hadn't really decided where the light was coming from, but I thought it would be in shadow. So I mixed a little French ultramarine blue in there to give me a sort of purplish pink. That's another thing this painting suffers from. I didn't make a decision on where the light was coming from, and so I don't really have good shadow and light, good highlights in this painting. It is a very rough sketch, and I usually put more thought into what I'm doing. I was just interested to see what the color would look like over the paste modeling, and I'm not sure it was 100% successful. It didn't turn out to be too bad of a picture, but it's not my favorite painting of roses and hydrangea. I've done many others that I prefer, but hey, it was an experiment, so I use the same technique with the leaves. I pull in the stroke from the outer edge in toward the center vein, and hydrangeas have quite large leathery leaves, and the roses I paint have smaller leaves in groups of 3, and I'm okay with the leaves in this painting. They're not the star of the show, and I think they look all right. There are some things I put in. I put some twiggy bits in, which I wish I'd left out. And the vase didn't finish up how I really would like to see a glass vase. The whole thing isn't too bad, let me say. It's just not as good as I would like it to be. This vase is meant to be transparent glass, so I'm using the white paint as representation of the light where it hits the glass. I hope that explains it. I also reinforce the highlights on the roses with straight titanium white. I don't mix any colour in with that. Titanium white sort of dulls down a little bit as it dries, and I don't think I had put any highlights on here before, so this is kind of new highlights. And the roses do, I have to say, have that leathery look. I don't know whether that's a consequence of painting over the modelling clay. I wouldn't have thought so. I would have thought I would have been able to achieve a more delicate and transparent petal, but I don't seem to have managed that. I think mixing the modelling paste in with the paint is a better way to go. I think that painting was more successful than this one. I have to give this one second place. And the only problem with mixing the paste into the paint is that because it's white, it pales everything down, so you don't get the color saturation. I don't know if you can get it in other colors. I didn't look for it in other colors. I simply looked for modeling clay, and all I saw was white clay. You may be able to get it in different colors, which would help a lot, I think. I used raw umber to put in the stamens, and then I just dotted it in, and then I dotted primary yellow mixed with a little titanium white over the top for a highlight. I sometimes use alizarin crimson for this. I don't know why I didn't in this case. I just chose raw umber instead, and I think it looks a little hard. Finally, I realized I didn't have any stems, and I'm following down from the top of the rose to get the stems to line up in the proper places. And I usually put quite a lot of colour, different colour on my stems. But this was a sketch, a very hurried and quick sketch as an experiment to see how the colour would turn out painted straight on top of the modelling paste. And I really can't say I put too much effort into my stems. I forgot to put thorns on them, on the rose stems, and I didn't put much highlight or shadow on them. I'm afraid this was not my proudest moment. You'll have to bear with me with this one. It was all an experiment, not entirely successful. And I don't think it's one that I will repeat. I definitely prefer mixing the paste in with the paint. I think that was more successful. I finally made a decision that the light was coming from the right, and that therefore all the leaves on the right hand side should have a light highlight to them. But as I look at the painting, it's not very well lit. I can't say I'm thrilled with this painting. I know I've done better. And I feel it might have its own charm. I'm putting the sepals in at the moment. There are 5 to each bud. And I know I put some twiggy bits in which I could have left out. But it was not thought out. I think that was the difference between how I painted this and how I usually paint. I usually think about my paintings quite a bit before I do them. They are usually well planned out in my mind, and this painting was not. I was simply anxious to get colour on top of the modelling paste and see how it looked, and I didn't plan the painting very well. I did remember to put the shadow under the vase, which sets the vase on the table. It's not floating in midair. To sum it up, I think that mixing the modelling paste in with the paint is definitely the best way to go. I found that easier to use than doing it this way, putting the paste on first and then putting the colour on top. I think if I had planned it more thoroughly, thought about it more, I could have done a better job than this. But here's the result of today's experiment, and so I hope you got something from it. I definitely did. I won't be doing it again, to be honest. So if you enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up, a like, and share with your friends, and subscribe. That helps my channel grow, and I'd appreciate that. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.